Okay, so welcome to October. This call is set up to kind of like review like where everything is, the flow of our group. Hey, Jenna. And then I want to share some things that I've been listening to um, that I think are very helpful in us understanding like our motivation or blockers sometimes that we have in our personal journeys. And I'd love, as we kind of go through things, to kind of do it interactively, where if you haven't done some of them or thought through some of them, do it on the call and share. And those that are catching the recording, you know, share it, you know, in the group. So first things first, I am going to jump over and share my screen and just run through really fast where everything is located and kind of getting started. Um, so when you first approach things, basically you need to figure out your goals. Like, what are your goals for the month? And these can change. And, you know, it's often like, okay, you may have a long-term goal of 30 pounds, but realistically, what's your goal for the month? You know, is it 10 pounds? Is it just focusing on your nutrition? And if you do have like a pound, you know, like if the weight loss is your goal, you need to narrow down and figure out what are the steps, because we can't control the outcome. Not really. We can put in the steps, we can do, you know, a regular exercise, we can follow a meal plan. Those are the things that we can do. So we want to focus on those, you know, how our body reacts and, you know, all those things. Like, we don't have ultimate control over that. So it's really focusing on the day-to-day actions and making sure that every day that you start fresh. So whatever happened yesterday, and you can even reset throughout the day. I admit that I even would be one of those people that was like, oh, I've already ruined today by 9 o'clock, so I'll just eat horribly the rest of the day. I've been there, especially vacation mode, have been there. Where instead, looking at, okay, we went out for breakfast, well, lunch and dinner, I'm gonna eat according to plan, and giving yourself opportunities throughout the day to press reset. I even do that with mindset sometimes. And like, I was talking with Darcy a little bit, my oldest, like she starts on the wrong side of the bed daily. And it takes a lot of intentionality to pause sometimes on our day and flip the mindset. So that's something that we even have to check throughout the day, is like our mindset, because your mindset impacts your health too, whether it's your weight loss or just stress. And so once you figure out your goals, talking with your coach, if you haven't, if you know you don't have a consistent workout routine, and workout is part of your plan for the month. Not everybody is approaching that. Some people are just approaching nutrition that month and this month, and that's totally okay. If working out is part of your plan, then going through and figuring out with your routine. Like right now, I love 80 Day Obsession. It's one of my favorite programs. Realistically, I honestly do not have time in my schedule. What you want to do is figure out consistent time that you have throughout your week, even if it's only 3 days. Maybe you're starting with 3 days a week. That's okay. But figuring out, even if you do 21-day fix and you do first 3 days this week and then do 4 days next week, that's okay. But completing the calendar. But figuring out something that you're going to like, or sort of like. You don't have to love it at first, because none of us love exercise, and that's okay. But figuring out something you don't absolutely hate. I admit there are programs, there are trainers that I kind of stay away from because they don't fit me and like what I enjoy. And then there's others who I gravitate towards more, and that's okay. But someone that you can stick to for the calendar, and I recommend printing out the calendar that comes with the program and following it start to finish. Whether you put, you know, whether you skip a day and pick it back up, say, you know, skip tomorrow, you pick it back up Saturday, but actually complete start to finish. There's something about it that will affect your mindset and your results, because you're not skipping muscle groups. what's great is these programs are designed by trainers. It's like going to the gym and working with a trainer. You're going to hit all those muscle groups and you're really going to like maximize your time, where you can get a great workout at a gym, but if you're going to a gym aimlessly doing stuff, you're not going to get the same results as having a really solid plan. So once you pick your program, if you're not doing nutrition, if you're not doing a workout routine right now, that's okay. Then you need to choose Ultimate Portion Fix or 2B Mindset. And with those, following the guidelines. So if you're doing 2B Mindset, then you need to be really focusing on the principles that she teaches. Tracking is huge. If you're not tracking with 2B Mindset, you're going to not get the results you're looking for, because she gives the whole purpose and the whole like mindset behind 2B Mindset is more internal control. She's going to give you external guidelines, but you need to be tracking daily and weighing yourself consistently to know where you need to make changes. Where Ultimate Portion Fix gives you the why behind eating, but she tells you exactly what to eat. You just need to execute it. Now, tracking is important because we can have these great plans, but not actually execute them perfectly. My dinner was not perfect. So just knowing that, like, depending on what your goals and results you want, just keep that all in mind. If you haven't invested in 2B Mindset or Ultimate Portion Fix, yet again, totally okay. The third option is clicking on whatever workout program you're doing. So I'm going to do 21 Day Fix. All of them, with the exception of the newest programs, MM100 and 6 weeks of the work, come with some sort of guideline that you could follow. So you're going to click on the nutrition guide, and if you're doing one of those, MM100, I would say go to the guide for 21 Day Fix. 6 weeks of the work, I'd have to look at it, but it's more of an extreme workout, so potentially following like 80 Obsession, probably, because you're going to be burning more calories. But you click on nutrition and you read through this. Read through the nutrition guide, read through the new eating plan, and it will tell you exactly how to calculate your brackets. So any of the programs, they're going to follow the Ultimate Portion Fix. They're not going to follow 2B Mindset. Now, if you're doing 2B Mindset, you can do any of the exercise programs. I'm not going to go into more detail. Talk to your specific coach if you need help calculating that. I'm going to stop screen share for a second. Any questions about that so far? Anything about workout routines, nutrition, things you've found helpful if you're on this call and it's not your first month? Okay. All right. Now, the second thing, really the main topic of today that I want to talk about is mindset, because you can be a CrossFitter, you can go to the gym, you can do yoga. All that's great and all that's going to get you results. You can also you can work with a nutritionist, you can work with your doctor, like all that's great. But if you're not on the right mindset, you're not going to get the results. You have to work through it. It's just like any goals. If you have barriers up, you're not going to get the results. I'm going to quote a friend. She shared on her page today 3 things. I forgot how she phrased it, but about like her health and fitness journey, basically, she was sharing about. And she said, it's not about motivation, it's about dedication. And the thought of that isn't like, are you dedicated? It's figuring out your goal. Like, your goal has to be really important to you. Now, my goal, yeah, sure, I wanted to get back to my postpartum body, but it wasn't like, I want to be a size whatever. That didn't matter. It's how I felt pre-babies. That's why the feeling, like the confidence, the energy, the relationship with my spouse, like those are the things that were important to me. And I knew how I took care of my body impacted that greatly. So you really need to, I recommend sitting down the next week and really thinking about like your why. And I love, Jenna shared in our group that her why has changed, and it may and most likely will change. Sometimes drastically, sometimes it'll just shift. And sometimes you'll gain clarity as you go through it, you know, the importance. And some of it, like, it can be more than one thing. You know, my mom has RA. That's a driving force to me. I know that health and nutrition can impact whether or not, like, your genes are expressed. So whether I have the carrier for that or not, I don't know, but I can do things that may prevent me from getting those signs and symptoms. The second thing my friend shared is discomfort equals growth. And it is human nature to avoid anything that causes discomfort. It's like a fight or flight type response, a human response of protection, that we will shy away from things that are challenging. It's kind of like a protection barrier. Now, we cannot grow. We cannot, like, workouts. Like, if you continue to lift the same weights, you're not going to get different results. You're going to just plateau. Whether it's like weight loss or just like muscle tone, you're not going to change, but you have to continue challenging yourself. That's why I like to change my workouts. You know, I'll do one program and then switch. It's why I try to increase my weights as I go through a program, because I'm going to continue to get the same results. Same thing with nutrition, mixing up what you're eating. That's why I switched from 2B Mindset to Ultimate Portion Fix. And even you can switch within Ultimate Portion Fix, is because, you know, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, you will at one point plateau. What got you from a weight loss of, say, 170 to 150 will not get you from 150 to 130. You're going to have to change things to continue to lose weight. So if you feel like you've plateaued at some point, you need to look at, like, where can you push yourself? Can you increase your weights in your workout? Could you switch your workout routine going from MM100 to 80-day obsession? Could you be changing what you're eating? Eating enough. Too often we think that eating less is better. That's not true. It's eating the right foods, which is better. I intake around 1,800 calories to 2,000. I just calculated for something today. It was like 2,000. But it's the calories that I'm intaking. Now, if I ate that all in chocolate, I would have very different results than, you know, a wide variety. And the one thing that I would recommend, that I would always tell people, it goes along with 2B Mindset and Ultimate Portion Fix, is check your veggies. Too often we're heavy on the carbohydrates, and carbohydrates in the sense of pasta, rice, bread, and less on fiber-filled carbohydrates like vegetables. So checking that is really important, and making that a priority. I, for one, did not before becoming a coach. You know, I was great with fruit, not so much with veggies. And the other thing that she shared is conquer self, conquer your world. And that's how I feel. I like starting my day with a workout. It may not work with your schedule, and may not work with your personality, but for me, if I can start my day, I'm more energized, I'm a little less stressed. I'm not saying I don't have stress, but I do feel like I'm better mental clarity when I can do that. There's like a whole rush of like confidence and endurance and energy that I get from a workout, starting in the day. And I just recommend you figure out the day that you're going to have the energy for it, and that sets your day up for success. Some people, it might be after work, and that's okay. Some people, they're more night owls and they have the energy. If I try to work out in the evenings, literally there's like an energy drop as the day goes. Like, I start really high, and that's why I get up really early and I try to go to bed by 9, because as the day goes, I plummet. The first 2 hours of my day, doesn't matter when it starts, are my most productive time. So I try to put the things that are most important. You know, that's why I tend to do my business stuff. That's why I do my workout and my whole morning routine then. But I think, you know, you can have all these tools. We can give you all the resources. I can give you all the many plans in the world. But if you don't figure out how you tick, you're gonna run into barriers. So I'm gonna switch, and if you haven't done this, I'm gonna drop the link here in the Zoom call, and then it is in our Facebook group. So I invite you to click on this link if you're on the call live and take the quiz. So as you guys do it, I'm going to kind of talk through it a little bit.
Go away.
And I'm going to switch so it's screen shared.
Yeah, just gold sacks.
Okay, so when you go to the site, she's gonna ask you questions and it's free. There's 8 questions. I'm gonna do it with you guys even though I've done it, but. Hi, Veronica, sorry. So we just did, I'm gonna put it in the chat since you just joined, you're not gonna see it. But we just did the Gretchen Rubin 4 tendencies quiz, which you may have done already, but I wanted people to do it again if they haven't. And then now that everyone should have enough time, drop it in the chat of what your tendency is. Or you can unmute and share, but I'm an upholder through and through. I like rules. Give me a to-do list, tell me exactly what to do and I will do it. I also like New Year's resolutions. To me, like just anything, like I said, it goes along the whole, like, give me a plan. I like the idea of like following a workout calendar, like it makes sense. Now this, though I've given those recommendations, it may not actually work for you. You might be a rebel and say, take that workout calendar and I'm not doing it. So figuring out what makes you tick will help you figure out what you need to do to be successful. Now I would have to do some research. I know there's like Lori's a rebel in our group. and she does follow the calendar. So I'll have to ask her, like, how does that work for you? If anyone on the call is a rebel, I'd love to hear that. A lot of people that have shared in their group before tend to be obligers, which makes sense. Darcy, you're an obliger. That makes sense because you want help. Like, you want someone to give you the instructions of what to do. So it makes a lot of sense for a community to have a lot of obligers. Now, along with that, figuring out, like, do you want to plan? Like, do you want someone, like an ultimate portion fix may work really well for people who are obligers because they want to know exactly what to eat, exactly what time of day. Like, should you do timed nutrition might be a better fit for you because it tells you what meals, what containers every single day. Where someone who might be a rebel, or what's the other tendency? Questioner might do better with a to be mindset approach. And so we want to make sure that we're helping coach you in a way that gets you the results faster. And this can change too on your journey as you decide for yourself. Yeah, I may be a rebel, but at this point, I'm choosing to do this for this reason. And someone who's a rebel does better with, well, I need to make more of a consequence. So sometimes we need to know the consequence. Like, if we don't make change now, I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like, they need sometimes that dire, like, I need to make this change or I have to be put on medication and I don't want medication. So I'm choosing the lesser of two evils for me. So sometimes that too. Or even just the accountability piece or letting someone down. If you're an upholder, having accountability partners. So a lot of that, what we want to do as coaches is really help set you out with resources that are beneficial to you. We don't want to continue to run groups that don't work for your goals or help you, or more one-on-one. So feel free, after you listen to the recording or after you get off the call and you think through this, if you're like me, I think through things later and then come up with questions, feel free to reach out to your coach or even share in the group questions or concerns that you have for moving forward. Now, Gretchen Rubin goes on to talk. I'm listening to her book, Better Than Before. I really recommend it. It's very interesting. She talks about all this, talks about the 4 tendencies and talking about like how people tick and like the other concept she talks a lot in her book about is about whether or not you're a moderator or an abstainer. Now, these similar concept, but if you're a moderator, when it comes to nutrition, I think it's very important. I realize people used to always say to me, you have really good self-control, and I don't agree. I always say, I have self-control as long as it doesn't come in the house. And looking at her or listening to her talk about whether or not you're a moderator or an abstainer makes complete sense because I'm an abstainer. I am not a moderator. I am really not good about moderation or the sense of moderation. That doesn't make things bad or good of who you are. People who are moderators, how you can tell is you're a person who finds an occasional indulgence will heighten your pleasure. So you're someone who says, I can keep it in the house. If I know I can have it twice a week, I'm great. That taste, having a treat on Tuesday and a treat on Sunday, I'm good to go. Where an abstainer like me opens that treat and completes the whole bag in a sitting. Like, that's just like, I'm a binge eater, so to speak. I'll open up a candy bar and finish it in one sitting. I'll attempt a bite, put it away, and keep chipping away until it's gone. I've done it with bars of chocolate. And for me, it's less stressful to just say, like, giving up Lent. Like, it's just, I can't have it. It takes away that whole, I forgot how she terms it, but basically, like, I don't have to worry about self-control because it's just not even an option. It's not on the meal plan kind of mindset. Now, this works for either Ultimate Portion Fix or To Be Mindset, because if you're a moderator with Ultimate Portion Fix, you would follow the concept of adding in treats, where it's okay to swap your yellows. If you're a moderator with 2B mindset, the treat and track works for you. If you're an abstainer with either, you just don't have treats if that's not aligning with your goals at the time. Also, if you're a moderator, you might think getting picky at the thought, you get panicky at the thought of never getting or doing something. So, it could be just, the whole concept of I can't have X stresses you out and you end up overindulging instead. Where an abstainer might not be tempted by things that you decide are off limits. So thinking about that, share in the chat if you guys want, or you can go ahead and unmute and share what you think you are. Are you more of a moderator or you're an abstainer? And like I said, there's no good or bad to either one. It's just how you tick as a person and something you need to consider. Are you someone that has to keep something out of the house, or are you someone that actually does better with having it in the house and just knowing that you can have it occasionally?
I can't remember which one it was called, but I can't have it in the house.
You're an abstainer.
Abstainer. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
the kids aren't.
No, that's okay. And it's like there's so many like terms and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's valuable because now that's power. And that's what I love about a lot of things she shares about in her book is it's like, okay, well, that's how I am. That's how I work. Now I can use it to my advantage. I just don't keep it in the house. Like, that's easy. Where someone else is like, okay, well, I'm a moderator. I keep it in the freezer out of sight, but I can have it X amount of planned days or whatever. And where it's just enough. It's like that spoonful of whatever, and then you move on.
Jamie, can you be a mix of both?
Yes.
Like, I'm usually really good at like moderating things, but then I just have like weak points where it's like I just don't say no, and then I overindulge. And so I feel like sometimes I just abstain from buying certain things to avoid that.
Yes. Thank you for bringing that up. Actually, she does address that. She addresses it in her book that it depends on the thing. So for me, sweets, I am 100% have to be an abstainer, where there could be like carbs, like certain carbs, like pasta, I don't care that much about, where I can have that in moderation. It's more, it just depends on what they are. It can even be non-food items, like it could be TV, or it could be social media. It could be any of those kind of like vices that you have, whether or not you're a moderator or abstainer. So that is important to know too, like what can you have in moderation and what needs to be. Or for me, like I can have it in moderation, but I can't be in the house. Like I can say when I go out to eat, it's okay to have a treat.
Yeah.
But it cannot stay in the house. And my girls, I think, are abstainers because you open like candy and they are like savages. Like it just haunts them. Like I can't, it's crazy. And I don't know if it's just a kid thing and that changes as you're an adult, but they are horrible about sweets. So, but I don't know, because I thought it was interesting because I've never heard anyone talk about it in that sense, where I thought there was something wrong with me in the fact that I couldn't moderate things, where people are like, well, if you just had it around more often, if you just had the candy bowl sitting out, you would get used to it. But I never have. Like if we had it in our house, if we had it in our friend's house, like I could literally sit there and eat the whole bowl if I wanted to. Where it's like it's not necessary in me. So why do I need to get used to that? I don't. And trying to remove the guilt from some things and just like that's how I tick and this is how I'm going to overcome it. Any questions? We have about 7 minutes. Any questions that you guys have or current struggles or wins? Like I'd love to hear, what's working really well for you, and maybe even what's a goal for this month.
Well, I had been doing the Ultimate Portion Fix for a while, and I thought I just needed a little bit of an oomph, like get me push me through, whatever. So I am looking into the To Be mindset, and it's slow going, but I just decided to start on Tuesday because it was a new month. And I really do like her catchphrases, and just some of the other information in there was helpful and made me look at things a little differently than when, Autumn with her program. So I kind of like having both, and I'm still trying to figure out, what works for me between both of them, or if I should just do, one over the other. But I do like having that knowledge.
Yeah, and I don't think that you have to have one or the other. I think that you can figure out, because nutrition is really individualized, like the program that Gloria and I are doing the same program but different paths. But so we get a lot of the similar content, but nutrition is very unique. It's just like what carbohydrates I can eat may not be the same as you, and vice versa. Just like I tend to stay away from dairy, but it's something that I'm looking into. Can my body tolerate it? And just, tweaking or whatever. But, everyone is very unique. Your genetics play a big part. And so I think finding a happy medium, and also your mindset too. Like I always say, like, To Be mindset's my fallback on vacation, where I don't stress about containers, I don't stress about like menu planning, and I just follow the plated method. Now, day to day, following more of a time to nutrition approach works for me. But it's a combination. And like you said, I really love her catchphrases, and I still use like veggies most and water first, struggle with, but try for. So I think that there's a lot of value in both, but they are different. So it's hard when people ask to say one is better than the other. They're just different. And like you're saying, different points of different journey too. You felt like you started with Ultimate Portion Fix, and you feel, well, kind of hit a plateau, or I'm still struggling, so I want to see what more can I do. So I think that's great. Workout routines. I think Kelly, you do Derby. Darcy, Jenna, and Veronica, you're all doing MM100, right? You're a rebel, Veronica. I'm not totally surprised by that. Not totally. Only because Veronica has been doing my groups since I have been a coach, basically. But her journey has been interesting, where Veronica's, let's just say, more present than she was in the beginning. So there was always kind of like, hey, this is going on. But she was always like jumping into groups. But that's funny. I love it, Veronica. So what do you think helps you? We have like 3 minutes, but Veronica, I'd love to hear your perspective. Like, you are getting in a rhythm, you are getting more of a routine. What do you think has helped you more recently?
Can you all see me?
Yeah.
Okay, because I can't see myself, so I don't even know what I look like. I did something with the screen. So I feel like I've gotten off of the rhythm for the past couple weeks, but I think it's because of stress within like my job. We just started school. Hold on, Austin. We started school in August, and so like all of September has been really stressful. And then I've been applying for grad school, and that's been a little bit also like stress. I think it's been stress that I can't control, and that bothers me. Or like things that I can't control. Like I was, waiting for letters of recommendation. So September has been like I think my worst month it's been since I was consistent. I was pretty consistent in June, and then July, and then like August. There was some hiccups, but I was still trying to keep up. September has been like terrible for me, as I feel. But starting October, I told myself I need to take the time again for myself. And that's always been one of the things that you've always pushed, Jamie. It's like you need to take that time for yourself. What's kept me, I guess, on track is been my nutrition. I make sure that I keep up to date like with my nutrition. And that's helped also, like meal planning has helped. I've gotten a lot better with my meal planning. So I guess my wins have been keeping up with my nutrition, even if my exercise hasn't been always there. And sometimes I forget to post like my Shakeologies and stuff like that. But, that's something I'm still, making sure that I take and I drink. So that's helped.
Hold on, I'm gonna log back in. We won't stay on long. The recording will stop, but we're gonna cut it off. So go ahead and click back into this, and we'll let Veronica finish and then answer last minute questions.
Okay.
I'm gonna close out.